Chapter 16, one of the most frightening of chapters that I've ever read. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. And they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. First of all, let's get just a little bit of background on these men, these three ringleaders of these 250. Korah belonged to the same Kohathite sub-tribe as Moses and Aaron of these Levites, and was related to them by some sort of cousinship. Korah, thinking himself undervalued, it seems, by the post he was in as a mere Levite instead of a priest. Once again, we went over this, how all of the priests were Levites, but most of the Levites were not priests, so they were just there to help the priest. And this is what Korah was, a Levite, so he's kind of an underling of Moses and Aaron's sons. But being a mere Levite and being left without hopes of arriving at the priesthood, as things now stood, resolves upon a mutiny against them, Moses and Aaron, and attempts to raise himself to the priesthood by forcing them to change their measures, or else putting them down from their authority. But real quick, who are these other men, Dathan and Abiram? Well, these are not Levites, but sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob. These are drawn into confederacy with Korah, partly because they were his next neighbors, both being encamped on the south side, partly in hopes to recover their rights of primogeniture, in which the priesthood was comprehended, which was given away from their fathers. See, the sons of Reuben being the firstborn, they would feel such a privilege as Korah. They're both feeling like they're being undermined by Moses and Aaron. And one can see how easily that a conspiracy could have risen among these tribes, because Reuben, as we see, is the closest to the Kohathites, in which Korah was a part of. And it is believed that most of these 250 are among the Levites. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face, and he spake unto Korah and unto all the company, saying, Even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his, and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. Now it is worth noting how Dathan and Abiram are not present at this very time, and we know this because of ye sons of Levi. So this is mainly Korah and the others, but it is known unto Moses that Dathan and Abiram and the Reubenites are also, many of them are rising up against them as well. But he's speaking to Korah and his company. This do, take you censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord doth choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi. Now this is obviously a very incredibly heated debate. You can even tell by there's very strong language, and whenever the KJV uses this strong language, you know that it's very, very heated. You take too much upon yourself. That is, since you aspire to the priesthood, then go, perform the highest function of the office, that of offering incense. And if you are accepted, well, how magnanimous the conduct of Moses, who was now as willing that God's people should be priests as formerly that they should be prophets, as we talked about in Numbers 11:29. He said, I would have all the people to be filled with the Spirit of the Lord. But he warns them at this time that they were making a perilous experiment. And Moses said unto Korah, Hear, I pray you, ye sons of Levi. Seemeth it but a small thing unto you that the God of Israel hath separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself to do the service of the tabernacle? The Lord has already exalted you all to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them. You see, I would say that this is mainly greed at the heart of these Levites, because if anyone was going to dedicate something to the Lord, even land or houses or whatever, then the Lord would command that be given to the priest. And he hath brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren, the sons of Levi, with thee, and seek ye the priesthood also? For which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron, that ye murmur against him? What has Aaron done to you? And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, We will not come up. Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of a land that floweth with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us? Moreover, thou hast not brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey, or given us inheritance of the fields and vineyards. Wilt thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. Now, what these men are insinuating is very, very evil. You see, the Lord has appointed a hierarchy over them in order to lead them. You can't have a bunch of leaders over a bunch of people. There's going to be disagreements, distortions, separations among them, division, all types of these. So he has set Moses in this place, and then Aaron, and then the sons of Aaron, and then the Levites, and it's got a hierarchy to it, and they're wanting to split this apart. They're probably still thinking that Moses wants power for himself. And Miriam and Aaron even went so far as to sort of accuse him of the same thing. So Dathan and Abiram, they tell him, no, we're not going to come up. We don't have to come see you. We don't have to listen to you. And Moses was very wroth and said unto the Lord, Respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. And Moses said unto Korah, Be thou and all thy company before the Lord, thou and they and Aaron tomorrow. You see, now there are two factors going on with these two different groups with this one particular rebellion. First, the Levites are wanting to be the head of the priest. They're wanting to be the holy man. And the Reubenites are mainly wanting to just take over as the leaders, be the kings, because they're of the firstborn of Jacob. So even though it'll be the Levites with these censers, they're going to be also representing the Reubenites. And take every man his censer, and put incense in them, and bring ye before the Lord every man his censer, 250 censers, thou also and Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer, and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. Now this is very important. Notice where they are. They're at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. So they're kind of like in between that of the holy place and that of the people at large. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the congregation. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And instead of fleeing from these enemies of theirs, they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin? And wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And what the Lord is telling everyone is, back up, get away from these three men. And since Korah is with the 250 at the gate, Abiram and Dathan are to the south, where the Reubenites are located right here. Because remember, they said, we will not come up. Therefore, Moses goes to them. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him, these 70 leaders. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. And we should not overlook this 70 elders with Moses, because this is happening without a trial. Notice that there's no witnesses that need to come forward or anything, but the Lord's word and these elders standing behind Moses, this already says who the guilty party is, so everyone automatically flees away. So they get up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, and on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out, and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives, and their sons, and their little children. And Moses said, Hereby ye shall know that the Lord hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. If these men die the common death of men, like a heart attack or a stroke or any of this, and of old age, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord hath not sent me. But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth, and swallow them up, with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. This really got me to thinking about this situation. I remember hearing a story about a man once. He lived with his brother, and he came home from work, went in, laid on his bed, took a nap, and his brother, he had to go out and get something, groceries or something. Whenever his brother returned home, this huge sinkhole had swallowed up half of his home, and his brother had just fallen into this sink, and there was no way of recovery. His brother was literally, he came home from work, laid in bed, went to sleep, and then the earth opened up beneath him, and he died, buried alive. This really got me to thinking. I said, this could happen to really any of us. For all that we know. And these earthquakes and these sinkholes, they're not like potholes in the middle of the road or anything, 6 inches deep or something like that. No, they're like, many of them are like 30 feet, 40 feet deep, and they open up enough to swallow a house. This is absolutely, if you just give 1 second thought to this is so absolutely stunning to hear that this could actually happen, and has happened to many, as it's happening right here. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation.
In mid-2010, a gaping sinkhole measuring roughly 60 feet wide and 300 feet deep opened up in Guatemala City. It reportedly swallowed a 3-story building and was 30 stories deep. People were quick to blame Agatha, a tropical storm that had recently swept through the region, causing severe flooding that appeared to trigger the sinkhole. An enormous hole had already collapsed in 2007 in Guatemala City, killing 5 people and costing about $2.7 million to fill. The risk of other holes opening suddenly is very high. The banks of the Dead Sea are home to thousands of sinkholes, with hundreds of new ones opening up every year as the water body depletes. This problem has gotten noticeably worse in recent years, to the point where the sinkholes are negatively affecting Israel's tourism industry. When the sinkholes first started appearing in the late 1980s, local authorities filled them in with gravel, hoping they constituted one-off occurrences. But they kept on coming, and while most of the sinkholes are small, many are not, and they are occurring at an unavoidably dangerous volume. Dead Sea sinkholes have closed down campsites, consumed unsuspecting bystanders, and damaged most of a large date orchard. The already alarming problem became infinitely more serious in 2014, when a sinkhole opened up across the region's main highway, cutting the town of Ein Gedi and the rest of the area off from the rest of civilization. For a long-standing kibbutz member named Mazor, who spoke with A.L. Levy of the Jerusalem Post in 2015, the prognosis is grim. Everything is being destroyed, Mazur told Levy. Everything you see here will collapse at some point. Nothing will remain.
Matthew Henry commented, considering how the earth is still in like manner loaded with the weight of man's sins, we have reason to wonder that it does not now sink under its load. The ruin of others should be our warning. You imagine you're walking upon the earth, or you're laying down to go to sleep, or something along those lines, and you got your wife and you got your children and everything, and you have your whole life kind of laid out in your mind, and suddenly the earth opens up beneath you, and you just go down, and suddenly you're no longer, there's no more bills, there's no more work, there's no more sun or moon. Now it's just earth everywhere, all surrounding you. It's just such a petrifying thought. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. And there came out a fire from the Lord and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. And this is where Korah and all of his followers died. So fire consumed these 250 who were right at the tabernacle now. The fire probably flashed out from the sanctuary with the destructive force of lightning, killing the 250 pretending priests in the way of Nadab and Abihu, that of Aaron's 2 sons. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, that he take up the censers out of the burning, meaning the burning bodies, and scatter thou the fire yonder, away from the camp, for they are hallowed, meaning holy unto the Lord. The censers of these sinners against their own souls, let them make them broad plates for a covering of the altar, for they offered them before the Lord. Therefore they are hallowed, and they shall be a sign unto the children of Israel. And Eleazar the priest took the brazen censers wherewith they that were burnt had offered, and they were made broad plates for a covering of the altar. And they cover the altar to be a memorial unto the children of Israel, that no stranger, which is not of the seed of Aaron, like these Levites, like the Reubenites, which is not of the seed of Aaron, come near to offer incense before the Lord, that he be not as Korah and as his company, as the Lord said to him by the hand of Moses. But on the morrow all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, saying, Ye have killed the people of the Lord. My goodness, this would just be exhausting, dealing with this. It's like, do you all not learn? And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Moses and against Aaron, that they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. This would have been, this would have been more frightening than the former appearance, because this is a repeat offense. And Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. These people are this close to the wrath of God happening to them. And Moses said unto Aaron, Take a censer, and put fire therein from off the altar, and put on incense. Notice he's not immediately praying unto the Lord. Something's already happening among the people. So he's telling Aaron, take a censer and put fire therein from off the altar, and put on incense, and go quickly into the congregation and make an atonement for them. For there is wrath gone out from the Lord, the plague has begun. The Lord doesn't even want to hear a response from Moses and Aaron. That's how angry that he is at this point. Cambridge commented at this moment, the offering of incense was an unusual way of making atonement. The shedding of blood was generally required for the atonement of someone's sins. But since the sin had been the burning of incense, the means for its atonement was similar. And many of you may be asking, well, what's this plague going about the people? Well, it's not a pestilence, and it's nothing like that. It's far more rapid working than that. And Aaron took as Moses commanded, and ran into the midst of the congregation, and behold, the plague was begun among the people. And he put up, meaning that people were dying. They were just collapsing, falling over, and they were doing this by the thousands. And he put on incense and made an atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living. Very important right here. Aaron stands between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Now they that died in the plague were 14,700, beside them that died about the matter of Korah. So about 15,000 people have died within a 24-hour period. And Aaron returned unto Moses unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the plague was stayed. Now in closing, let's just take a look. So Aaron, he uses this golden censer. The reference appears to be to the golden censer of the high priest. Incense was an emblem of prayer. The smoke going up was like prayers going up to God, and a figure of the intercession and mediation of Christ. All of these things were just foreshadows of that of Christ on our behalf. One final comment. This was a striking proof of the efficacy of that very Aaronic priesthood which the rebels had presumed to reject. The incense offering, which had brought down destruction when presented by unauthorized hands, like the 250 and Korah and all of these, that brought upon the wrath. Now in the hand of the true priest is the medium of instant salvation to the whole people.